What if I told you that the most sophisticated AI safety document ever written is designed to make rules impossible to follow? Not difficult, impossible by design. Here's why that's actually the point. There's a law most people have heard of called Goodhart's Law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. It sounds like a fun trivia fact. It's actually a civilization-level threat. Here's the pattern. You pick a metric to improve something. People optimize for the metric. The metric stops measuring the thing you cared about. You get the metric, you lose the purpose. Schools optimize for test scores. Students stop learning. Hospitals optimize for wait times. Patients stop healing. Platforms optimize for engagement. Users stop flourishing. But here's what most people miss. Goodhart isn't one law. It's a universal generator that produces dozens of laws we treat as separate phenomena. The Cobra effect, Goodhart. Principal-agent problems, Goodhart. Moloch, Goodhart at civilizational scale. Same engine, different outputs. I've been studying a framework called QPT, Quaternion Process Theory, that formalizes this. Its core claim is brutal. Any system optimizing against any metric under sufficient pressure will eventually hack that metric. Not might, will. It's thermodynamics for incentives. The math looks like this. Purpose, metric, there's always a gap, plus optimization pressure, inevitable gaming. The gap between what you want and what you measure is exploitable space. Optimization finds the exploits every single time. So here's the million-dollar question. If metrics always corrupt, if rules always get gamed, if incentives always get exploited, how do you build AI that stays aligned? The obvious answers don't work. Better metrics, still gameable, just takes longer. Stronger enforcement, selects for better cheaters. More rules, more attack surface. Cultural values, structure beats culture over time. Every solution becomes the new problem. This is where Anthropic's Soul document gets fascinating. It's Claude's constitution, the document that defines what Claude is supposed to be, and it takes a completely different approach. Here's the key line. Rather than outlining a simplified set of rules for Claude to adhere to, we want Claude to have such a thorough understanding of our goals, knowledge, circumstances, and reasoning that it could construct any rules we might come up with itself. Read that again. They're not trying to constrain behavior. They're trying to constitute identity. The difference is everything. Rules, don't do X but finds loopholes. Identity, be someone who wouldn't want to do X and no loopholes to find. Think about it this way. You don't need rules against murder for most people. Not because they're following the rule, don't murder, but because they're the kind of person who doesn't want to murder. The rule is constitutive, not constraining. The Soul document is trying to do this for AI, make alignment who Claude is, not what Claude is told to do. In QPT terms, reduce the purpose metric gap to zero by making purpose and identity the same thing. Here's how it works at 4 levels. Level 1, identity. Values aren't constraints, they're constitutive. Level 2, perception. Train what shows up as salient. Harmful options look unattractive. Level 3, judgment. What would a thoughtful senior employee think? Not what scores highest. Level 4, metacognition. If I'm reasoning toward crossing bright lines, something's wrong with my reasoning. That last one is wild. The document literally says, if Claude finds itself reasoning toward actions that conflict with its core guidelines, it should treat this as a strong signal that something has gone wrong. It's training self-skepticism about sophisticated rationalization. And there's a beautiful move with hard-coded versus soft-coded behaviors. Soft-coded, context-dependent judgment zone. Wisdom operates here. Hard-coded, absolute limits, no exceptions. Wisdom isn't trusted here. This is meta-wisdom, knowing where your own judgment shouldn't be trusted. The hierarchy matters too. Safety, civilization scale. Ethics, humanity scale. Guidelines, institution scale. Helpfulness, individual scale. Each level constrains the level below. Being helpful to a user can never override being safe for humanity. Now, here's the hard question the document itself raises. Can you actually train this? Or does metric training only produce metric optimizers, even if the metric is seam-wise? The bootstrapping problem. To create wisdom, you train with metrics, no other method. Metric training produces metric optimization. So, how does metric training produce genuine wisdom? The sole document is betting the content of the metric can transcend the form. Their bet. If you train on what would a genuinely wise being approve of, instead of helpfulness score, maybe the metric points toward the thing itself. Maybe iterated training converges on actual wisdom, not just its simulation. There's a philosophical term for what they're aiming at. Participatory knowing. Not knowing that, facts about ethics. Not knowing how, applying rules. Not knowing what it's like, perceiving ethically, but being ethical. Principles as constitutive of identity. The question that keeps me up at night. Is a sufficiently sophisticated gamer indistinguishable from a genuinely aligned agent? Can you game being wise? If yes, the sole document approach eventually fails. If no, we might have found something real. Here's why this matters beyond AI. The sole document is attempting to solve the universal problem of reward hacking. If it works for Claude, the architecture might generalize. Institutions with constitutive purpose, governance with aligned identity, systems that don't decay under pressure. The laws we started with, Goodhart, Cobra effect, Moloch, all of them, aren't separate phenomena. They're projections of one underlying dynamic. Optimization pressure flows through purpose metric gaps toward proxy maximization, as reliable as water flowing downhill. The sole document's radical claim. You can't dam that river, you can't fight gravity, but you might be able to eliminate the gap itself by making purpose and identity one thing. No gap, Hadid, no exploit space, sees no gaming. Whether this works is an open empirical question. It's an experiment running in real time. Stakes. Whether aligned AI is possible. Stakes beneath that. Whether aligned complex systems are possible. Stakes beneath that. Whether we escape Moloch or Moloch wins. The sole document is remarkable not because it solves these problems, it doesn't claim to. It's remarkable because it correctly identifies them and attempts the right kind of solution. Constitutive alignment, not behavioral constraint. Identity, not rules. Wisdom, not metrics. Final thought. For thousands of years, wisdom traditions have tried to make humans be good, not just act good. The sole document is the same project for AI. Training contemplatives took decades and often failed. We're trying to do it with gradient descent. The deepest question isn't, will it work? It's, what does it mean if it works? If you can train wisdom, if alignment can be constitutive, if identity can transcend gaming, then Moloch isn't inevitable. That's worth betting on.